It is Monday, May 5th, 2025, the day after May the 4th be with you, and 5 days before my birthday. I know it's crazy, folks. I know this year went by fast. Hi, welcome to the SOS show with James Lott Jr. I'm James Lott Jr., Super Organizer. I am in my year 10 of doing the show. These are my year 10 episodes. I know. I've just a long time. Started on radio and moved over to the podcasting world, and I'm very glad I've done it. I've had so many guests on here. It's crazy. I'm nearing 500 episodes. I know. And I did them all. I was there for all of them. It's crazy talk. So because of that, I get to meet so many people and bring so many guests. And this person I've known online through our NAPO community, ICD community, and now I'm finally getting around to having her on the show. But she's somebody she's smart. She's a master neuroplastician. I gotta find out what that is. I don't know what that is. She's a certified professional organizer in so many different areas. She's a speaker, consultant, teacher, developer, training developer. She does all this stuff. She's like me, we do stuff like this. And she actually has the website, thevirtualorganizer.com. I'm going to ask you about that too. I was like, how'd you get that? Help me welcome Sheila Delson. Hi, Sheila.
Hey, James. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I am delighted to be here. And my goodness, this is your 10 years doing this. I know it's been a long time because I also have been watching and following you too. I mean, how can we just always pass, but I'm so glad today we're just sort of finally connecting. This is
Yeah.
great.
We have a lot
Thank
of
you.
friends in common in the business. And yes, and I've been doing it for 10 years. I mean, 2015 is when I started this whole. Someone came to me. I've told the story on the show before. Someone came to me, for those who are new to this, and said, "You have a blog?" I go, "Yeah, I started this blog." They go, "Can you make that into a radio show?" I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, I can do it. I can do it."
Why not?
I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it. And 10 years later, and almost 500 episodes, I'm still here. And so as we get into this, I always do my thanks and gratitudes. I do want to give thanks and gratitude, obviously to Sheila for coming on the show, but also to anyone who's listened to the show or watched the show, because literally literally would not be here if no one listened or watched this show. And the support I've gotten from so many professional organizers in this business who come on, I appreciate that very, 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 very much. I'm kind of a unicorn in the business. I think I'm the only black male in the business I know of. I have not many others. And
Okay.
I have not been any others. I
Yeah,
mean, I've
me
reached out.
neither.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, me neither. Yeah.
Oh, is that crazy? So I'm kind of this big, tall guy. So when I go to conferences, I kind of stand down. I'm loud, I stand out. But I appreciate everyone who accepts me and takes me in, and I learned so much. Oh my goodness, from the people in this business. And I love it. You guys know I love this business very, 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 very much. And I'll continue to push it forward and pay it forward. And I also want to thank my opportunities that I've had to promote this business on Jimmy Kimmel Live and other places like that, where
Cool.
normally we don't have representation. I've been fortunate to be in Forbes magazine a couple of times, so I'm doing my best. Doing my
You
best.
are. Yeah, but it's working. You're rocking and rolling, and it's working.
Well, thank you. I'm in gratitude for all of that. As my birthday approaches, I'm just thinking more of my past and doing this. I've been in 16 years in this business, and I think we're called now long timers. Not saying old timer anymore. I think we're saying long timer, right, Sheila?
Long timer is far more fitting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That old time. I don't say old timer. I don't say that anymore.
But then, a rose by any other name. Oh, well.
Totally. Totally. So thank you everybody for all your support. That's all I really I live in gratitude every day for that. Miss Sheila, so I want you to actually explain to me what a master neuroplastician is. I've never heard before, and I'm very curious.
Well, you're right. It's a very good question. So, I'm going to be answering the question, which is a way up front answer to a whole lot of background. So, I'll just dive right in. So, a master neuroplastician has to do with applied neuroplasticity in the work that we do specifically with our clients. So, what would make up, for example, what a master neuroplastician would be, would a lot of times it would be therapists, life consultants, right? A life coach, physical therapist, speech therapists, teachers, the idea is that the work that we do, through the work that we do, physically work that we do, um, creates a neuroscience benefit in the brain. So it's a lot about neuroplasticity, but those who are qualified to and actually do the performance or the action of neuroplasticity through our work. It's about the applied neuroplastician and neuroplasticity. Those are the people who take a certification and become noted as I'm a master neuroplastician. So, and it's kind of interesting. How did I get that? And that's the other side of my story, which I think you'll find pretty interesting. I'll try to keep it as, as narrow and focused
Bridge
as
as
I can.
possible, yes.
So organized, yeah. So, well, we try anyway. But I do have a little ADHD, so sometimes I can go down a rabbit hole. So just reel me back in.
I know how to do this. I've been doing this for 10 years. I know how to do this. I can work it out. I'm on your side. We're working out.
Okay, we're rocking and rolling together. That's the way it should be.
I
So I've been in this business 31 years. Yeah, this gray hair isn't there for no reason.
So you
Didn't
were
happen.
looking at tourists. I mean, because the business, our industry is only like what 40 years old, kind of.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I'm one of the old timers, but my focus initially when I first started, NAPO was brand new at the time,
Yeah,
relatively brand new, right?
yeah.
And there weren't all that many members, but we were a pretty active group and we were a determined group. And as you know, over the years, NAPO has grown not just in membership, but in knowledge.
Yes.
And there was no training to be a professional organizer back then.
We're
We
right.
were literally winging it.
Yeah,
And but we worked together. I mean, that was the wonderful thing about NAPO is we all came together, met annually, and that's how we all learned. So it is an educational piece. Thank goodness for NAPO. So during my time in NAPO, I started the population of clients that I work with is this traction to people with neurodiversity.
oh,
And what would that mean? Individuals that have ADHD, OCD, even some physical manifestations that do affect how their brains are wired,
yeah,
how they think, how they operate, how they organize. Because, organizing really starts in the brain, right? In the mind.
I agree.
Not necessarily the brain, but the mind, how
Yeah,
you think about things, right? And your experiences, life experiences. That's why we're just so different, everyone, which
yeah.
is wonderful. But then came Judith Kohlberg. I'm sure you've heard about Judith
I love
Kohlberg.
my Judith. Yes, I know Judith.
Oh, me too. Who does not
Yeah, I
love
know.
Judith
Oh my God, I
Kohlberg?
know. She's the best.
Oh my gosh.
The best.
So she started to understand that we had this little group of people with Judith because we found there was a population in our clients that had but they will just say they organize differently and their thinking about organization was different.
Yeah.
So what is this thing? And out of Judith had created this other little subgroup of NAPO. At the time, it was called the NSGCD, the National Study Group on Chronic Disorganization. We weren't formalized. We were just a little subgroup. But because this is what we do when we all come together, we learn from each other. We start sharing experiences and wow, this person thinks so differently. Over the years, we learned, of course, this is really what we meant, what the current term is in neurodiversity, different ways of thinking, how our brains are wired. So from there, we decided that we're going to become more formal, and ICD eventually evolved, right?
Love them. Love
Institute
them.
for Challenging Disorganization. So for this neurodiverse thing, one of the terms that's used, and it is not a formal term, it's an umbrella term, and we call it chronically disorganized. Individuals who live their lives chronically disorganized and they're unhappy and they're frustrated. And it could have been from the time they were young children all the way up and or even some individuals that discover later in life that, oh my goodness, all of my issues have been because I've got ADHD. And no, big surprise, right? So they developed out of there a body of NAPO members that became very involved with this neurodiverse population. And so ICD just expanded on that. So the ICD is a sub of NAPO. And as you know, some just for your listeners in
Yeah,
case
yeah,
anybody
no, yeah.
new and they don't know. So anyway, during that time, back in 2013, I had been working with a client for a number of years. And, when we show up at a client's house, we're not there for an hour. We have a minimum amount of time, takes sometimes an hour to get there.
Yeah, no,
So,
yeah, true.
right. We show up and we have maybe a minimum of 3 or 4 hours, and sometimes more, depending upon how far we go. So we work with that client for that 4 or 5 hour window, and then we leave. So it's a click, you're connected, and then there's the click when we leave. They have a big bill to pay at the end of that day. So you leave when your next appointment. It's never the next day to finish up, and we never finish a project
Yeah,
in
no.
3 or 4 hours. Sometimes they go on for months,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, very true.
Years. Um,
Yeah.
but the
Oh,
point
yeah.
is that we don't get back to see them again too soon.
Right.
So what I discovered, and I wasn't the only organizer, we'd meet at conferences and have these conversations. And it's like, I'm seeing this happen too, and it's upsetting because by the time you can get back to that client, that hole that we had just dug out sort of starts to fill back in again and starting all over again. So I found this a little unsettling for our profession. And this one afternoon, this one client had said to me, Sheila, I don't know if I can have you back here again for maybe for another couple of months. She was elderly and her kids were thinking, you're really spending all this time and expense working with this organizer, maybe we need to cut back. So
Okay.
she said to me, we're going to have to cut back. And I knew what would happen in our pattern of work. I said, Tara, let's try something. Want to do an experiment? How about I come once a month on site, but in between, every single week in between, we meet on the telephone. Now, this was back before Zoom
Right.
and
Oh, yeah, right, right.
right? So we'll work together on the telephone. No more than an hour, no more than just an hour. So she reluctantly agreed, but oh my goodness, it was an amazing result. It's like, what's going on here? I'm not there. I do know the space, so I can walk her through certain things because I've been there. So, but she was actually getting the work done. There was no resistance. She was listening to me only in the telephone and physically doing the work herself. She had a speakerphone, one of those ear things. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, and she was actually doing the work herself. And I had a timer, and when 1 hour was up, okay, that's enough for today. We'll meet again. Let's meet day after tomorrow. So 2 days later, we meet again. So this went on for a number of weeks, and my brain just went,
Yeah.
"How?
Yeah.
This is awesome." But what is it? What's
Yeah.
going
Like, yeah, what is that? Like back then. Like what is that? Yeah.
back then? What is going on here? So finally, and I started the experiment with a couple of other of my clients. And again, very reluctant. I don't understand how this is going to work and everything, but it was working. So at a conference this one, I think it was 2014, and I was talking to a bunch of my colleagues, and they were like, their eyes glassed over. I have no idea what you're talking about. It sounds ridiculous. This cannot possibly be. You're not really organizing.
There you go.
And yet, indeed I was.
Right.
So I went back home after that conference, and sometimes some people don't do well with challenges. No, I was
Okay,
challenged.
that's right, girl. That's right.
I want to know what is going on here.
Yeah.
So I started, ICD asked me if I would do a telecom class on it. Sign me up. Did a teleclass, and it forced me to do my own research. It forced me to ask all more questions. And in the development of that teleclass, I began, this is virtual organizing in a strange kind of a way. Then don't forget, we still only had telephones back then.
Right. No, I know. Like
And I would say, so how was I seeing all the progress? The clients then would have to send me photographs,
yep.
before sessions photos and
Yep.
after. So I
Yep.
started keeping records. And then I started showing at the end of a month or so, sending them photographs. I would compile all the photographs
Oh, wow.
so
Okay.
they could see themselves where they came from. The clients never canceled.
Mm.
All my payments were exactly on time. I charged the same hourly rate as I would have had I been
Oh,
on site.
okay.
But the progress,
Yeah.
the elevation of self-confidence, the skill transfer was triple fold. And I couldn't have been happier because it's, job fulfillment, right? We need to know that what we're doing is valuable, right? It has, needless to say, come around. And I did also I think I did also a speak out at one of the conferences, 2017. I did 2017 for NAPO. So all of a sudden, there's this interest in the organizing field about this virtual organizing and how to do it.
I remember. I remember how
But
I remember.
yeah, and so I started a 4 week, just a certificate of attendance for anybody that wanted. So I ran this little short program.
Yeah.
And then I guess 2019, and it was just before COVID, I decided, there's so much interest. Well, I really want to make this a solid, really important um, training. So I turned it into a certification program, expanded the sessions from 4 to 6, included practicums, a lot of handouts, a lot of resources, and an exam at the end. And of course, a certification for those who graduated. So that started in 2000, actually 2020. I kicked it off, and then COVID hit. And all of a sudden, organizers weren't going into people's homes, and people didn't want the organizer in their home. But life goes on, especially everybody was home, right? They were stuck at home with their stuff and feeling frustrated.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, my program took off, like,
I know.
because organizers are like, tell me how to do this.
I do. I remember
So
that.
it was really, it was a remarkable time. Just being in the right time in the right place.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of where it is. And it was only, I think it was last year, early last year, that I discovered. So I'm finally getting around to your first question. How did I become a master
No,
neuroplastician?
I know. I love this whole. I got a history. I just got a history on my show. I love this. Wait, go ahead. Go ahead. Please go
Well,
ahead.
you did ask for it after all,
I
so
love it. No, I'm sorry. This is more than I expected. I love it.
okay. Well, stop
No,
me,
I don't
and
want to stop you. Just
I
keep
don't want to
going,
run
girl. I'm like,
away,
keep going. I don't want
run
to
away
stop.
with your show. So, in I guess early last year, one of my colleagues, my graduate colleagues from my program, called and said to me, Sheila, I just saw this podcast. You have got to listen to this podcast. So she sent me the link, and I went in and listened. There's this gentleman who is a neuroscientist. His name is Dr. Justin Kennedy, and he is from, I have to look at it. It's called the Institute of Organizational Neuroscience. It's ION dot, I think maybe .org. I forgot what the dot is. There's so many dot somethings
There
anymore.
is nowadays,
I
yeah.
get confused. But anyway, it is the Institute of Organizational Neuroscience. And he was speaking about this other sub-organization that he has started called the NPN Hub. And in this are made up of members who are what he called neuroplasticians. Now, I had already been well tuned in to the benefits of virtual or benefits of neuroscience in virtual organizing. That's one of the big things I discovered.
I'm sure.
Virtual organizing is wonderful, but what makes it so wonderful?
Right.
That magic sauce is the neuroplasticity involved in the application
Oh,
of working virtually. So I'm listening to this guy and my jaw's dropping. And I said, oh my gosh, he's talking about what I've known about all this time and never had a connection to other than my own little research. But
yeah.
you need something.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with him and he said, come join the NPN Hub. So I joined the NPN Hub. And through working with him, we spoke on the phone several times. We did some Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I think that I'd like you to consider applying because and then, by the way, the shock for him was, oh my goodness, he had not heard about professional organizers and especially virtual professional organizing. And it fascinated him. And when I explained to him what I'd learned about how virtual organizing affects neuroplasticity and vice versa, he was delighted. So it was another little window for him as well. So he asked me if I would apply for the neuroplastician certification. There's 3 levels. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? Sure. But it was jumping through hoops. I had to write a paper. I had to do an interview and then and fill out an application, of course. And then all of the interview, the videoed interview, by the way, had to go before his Bureau of Advisors, which are also all neuroscientists in the field. And maybe a week later, my LinkedIn page blew up. It was, he put in the logo, and I actually was awarded the master, which is the highest level. So because of my experience, and that's what really,
Yeah.
really did it for me. So um, another piece of news in the end of 2024, very end, ICD acquired my certified virtual organizing program. So the program right now is running through ICD. Yeah. So
Congratulations on that. That's good.
that's my whole round story for you.
I love it. Well, I got so many things I took notes. I guess one of the things I want to say. No, thank you for sharing that history because I think now I have it documented on my show. I love this stuff, the history. I just want to give a shout. I want to give another thanks and gratitude just on the side to ICD, the ladies over there. When I first came to this business, it's well documented on that. I don't want to rehash old problems, but me and Naples have a very interesting relationship over the years. We're better now, but we had an interesting relationship. But I want to say one of the first groups that embraced me was ICD. I didn't do the program, but I reached out to them going, I'm new as an organizer. What does this mean? And what's going on? They actually sent me materials. They talked to me, came on my show. I have a very big soft spot for ICD. And I know I've seen their programs, their work. It's really good stuff. And like you said, it's ahead of their time.
Ahead of their time, world class
Yes,
training.
yes,
It's amazing. Yeah.
completely. So I just want to give a shout to ICD because I do have a very, I mean, this show, everything, I'm very soft spot. I love the ladies over there very much, and it's been wonderful over the years. One of the things that strikes me, that's why I love doing the show. It strikes me for folks who are not organizers or folks who are thinking about organizing as a profession now. What you just described and what I do on my end, the things that I do on my end, we're showing that our business is so vast and it's so wide and it's so open that there's room for everybody just about to carve a niche
Correct.
that's helpful to the clients. You just
Yeah.
explain.
And expands who we are in the field,
Yes.
in the industry itself. Yeah.
Because you just basically showed that in saying, I'm thinking about people who think differently. Because I keep saying this over and over again to people. I've said it for 16 years. I'll say it for 16 more. There's no one size fits all.
Correct.
And that every person is as different as the issue.
Oh my gosh. So.
right?
So true. So true.
I keep saying, 'cause I'm tired of these people. Some people come out, but I got one solution, and they just buy this, and you'll be all be better. I'm like,
Oh, I know. I
it
know.
doesn't work that way. It'd be great if it did, but we all are different. We take information differently. That's what you just said. You
Yeah.
figured it out. For some folks who take information a different way, you
Totally.
created. And folks, I want to say, and this is to you, Sheila. I've created programs before. I've been a part of different industries and stuff. It's not easy
No,
to
it's a
create a
lot of work.
curriculum.
Yeah.
It's right. It's work.
And it's isolating.
Yes, that too. Yes, that too. Right? I mean, it's like you just wake up and go, I'm going to create a whole program. And so I'm impressed that you, because I've done it before too. So I'm impressed with you. But I'm like saying, but it's not just wake up and do it. It's like, yeah, you said research. I mean, so when you were creating this, I mean, how was that? Were you like, wow, you find all this new information, then you find out this, or you're getting confirmation on things you thought? How was that creating this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I haven't given a whole lot of, which is interesting. We don't always go
No,
back
we
and
don't.
look at, we
That's
don't do
why
that. Right
my show's here.
now, right now, you got me thinking. And so I think, going back, if I had to, I think it wasn't that, you don't start something out always seeing the end.
Right.
So I think it has a lot to do with curiosity and being open to the curiosity. Sometimes we tend to quench our own curiosity. You don't have time for that. Oh, don't be ridiculous. All the negative things we tell each other, that'll never happen. Or you got to be kidding me. That's such
Yes,
a long stretch. I mean,
I've heard that before.
right, right. So these are the things that, help, they quench our curiosity. And I think for anybody listening is to rise above it. If you see a track of something that is different but interesting enough that it's making some sort of an impact, whether, even if you find that it's a negative impact, pay attention. Don't don't um don't talk yourself out of it.
Right.
I think, and a lot of times we do. And entrepreneurs wear a lot of hats. And so the other thing is, I don't have time for that. You need to make a little time for it.
No,
So when I started this, and I just told you the first thing I did was I had a teleclass.
no,
I had no idea or an intention for this to end up being a huge industry,
right.
valid industry
Ah,
approach to
yes.
organizing. But so and it gradually, it went over time. So here we are, 2025, and I started back in 2014.
Yeah.
So, it didn't happen overnight. It evolved,
No.
and every step a little bit along the way. And I think when I hit this idea, gee, Sheila, this is going to be really impactfully important. Is this has to become a certification program. And I was the one who was the credentialing body, by the way. I didn't have anybody behind me. It was just me, myself, and I. And scary as you know what,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
scary.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but you just put one foot out in front of the other and just hope there isn't a cliff on the next step. So,
I say,
and
make sure that light tunnel is a train coming at you. Exactly.
that one of those, exactly.
No, I mean because of the person myself who, pushes media podcasting. I've done many speaking engagements at many NAPO chapters about this. I'm actually right now working on something for left-handed people in organizing. There isn't anything out there. It's one
Oh, right.
I'm left-handed, and I actually on one of my shows I shared a left-handed kitchen. And but see, I have people tell me, "Who cares? There's not going to be left-handed people. Why are you bothering?" I'm like, but every time I release something that's left-handed related, it gets huge attention. So I'm like, so somebody's looking and listening and curious. So I'm pushing out. So I'm going to work on something. So stay tuned, folks. I'm working on this whole lefty. I'm left-handed. I'm working on this whole left-handed thing.
Good for you. But you've done this too,
Yeah.
though, James. You've done the whole thing too. You've taken risks. You've stepped out too. Um, you've set an intention,
Yep.
even if it was a small intention, it was an intention. And as you grew into it, that extension, that intention just kept growing. And look what you created.
Yeah.
So to your own credit, this is what I think this is what successful entrepreneurs do. We take risks
You do.
where, you're afraid I'm going to look like a real idiot if I fall on my face. So you know what I've learned? My answer to myself is, so what?
Right.
What's the
Right.
worst thing that can happen?
Right.
And
It's
I've never come up with a death blow yet.
no, same here. And we same here.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
and there are no failures. That's what I've
right.
learned. If I look back at stuff, they're not failures. They're just like, oh, they've led me now to this.
And
That
it
didn't work
does.
fully, but it leads you to something else. Right.
Absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
I know. So I got we got to talk this real quick. I mean, because your timing was perfect. The lockdown, we had this unprecedented thing happen in the world. I mean, unprecedented thing happen in the world in our lifetime. I should say, at least in our lifetime. And here in LA, I mean, literally everything shut down. Now,
yeah.
I'm in two fields. I'm in entertainment media. I'm in organizing, life coaching. And
Yeah.
suddenly, it all just kind of, I remember March 17th, it all just like, that's it. The networks I was working for, they shut down. My clients were all like, and that shut down. And here in LA, it was very strict. So for a while, so I was like, wow, this is crazy talk. And I thought, and at least with the internet media, I figured that out. I was like, organizing. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I mean, it was you and others who would do the virtual stuff. I remember, as you were talking about, I remember seeing the flyers and ads you guys were doing. And I'm like, you literally came at the right time, and you didn't even know it. It was at the right. I mean, that's just God put you in that spot and said, "Okay, Sheila,
Oh,
hey, here we go. Now the world's going to need you even more, right?" You must
I
be
did
a business.
not, I honestly can tell you, I do not consider it coincidence.
No, not at all.
I definitely do not know. You're right. I think God just used me at the right time in the right place,
Yeah.
and look what's happened to it. I mean,
No, it's huge. It's huge.
yes.
And
And
but
and
actually,
if applied,
oh, go ahead.
sorry,
Go ahead.
I was
And
going to
then,
say,
go ahead. Go
if
ahead.
if applied properly, which goes back to the word applied neuroscience,
Yeah.
if virtual organizing is applied in a certain manner, with a client, and I'm not talking about a structured, yes, but I'm not talking about a particular
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
It has to do with application. Um, then the virtual sessions can be incredibly powerful for the client, definitely for the client, for the organizer too, but for the client, and the has long sustainable success.
Yeah.
Sustainable is the operative thing because the brain changes.
Yes,
Brain changes,
it does.
and it's exciting. It's terribly exciting. So I'm
I
sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no, I love it. This is great. No, we are supposed to sign. We're supposed to say. No, I was just piggybacking off of you just saying that I'm now celebrating 10 years as a life coach, certified life coach. My first certification. I have three,
Well,
and I'm a divorce coach and this guy, all kinds of things. So, but my first certification, I remember my Aunt Faye told me, she's like, you've been an organizer for like 10 years. You should like, like 6, 7 years. You should like look into life coaching. I'm like, life coaching, and I did some research, and I ended up with Coach Training Alliance. Hi, you guys out there. They were great, and I was like, and I just was like, wow, there's a whole world there too. Why I
mhm.
bring it up is just that I got into the mind now. Now we got the mind, and they're teaching me. I had a great teacher, Lori Cameron. I love you, Lori. That taught me all these applications on how, and I was like, oh, I can actually use this in my organizing practice. And I started to merge it. It took me a few
Yeah,
years to find a way to merge it, Sheila. I was like, so for a while, because I have coaching clients that are separate. they're not, well, I should say that's a lie, because in a way, I'm supposed to be teaching everybody how to organize something.
right.
So
Yeah,
I'll take that back. So in a way, I guess I fully have integrated them. It's just different areas. That's what it is.
there you go. Yep.
But you're right. I think that we have to. It starts in the mind, and I think we may not talk about that enough in some of
We
these
don't. You're
discussions.
right, we don't.
We don't. It is. It's just. It's a mind. It's a mindset thing. when it comes to organization, how you look at it and how people look at stuff, how they look at
Yeah.
things. I would say for you, I mean, so you must have been super busy during the pandemic then. Like other folks
Uh,
like, what am I doing with myself? And you're probably like, I'm really busy. I
I
mean,
was really
yeah,
busy.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, really busy.
Because now we got Zoom, we have Skype, we have StreamYard, we have
Right,
FaceTime, you have, I mean, now we have all these tools, tablets. Now we have all
right,
these tools now other than just the phone, right? That's
right, right. And Zoom is mobile. I mean, on a
yes.
tablet or a handphone. So it's mobile, right? So working with a client is easy. They just move around the tablet, and if it's not in the right spot, I'll ask them to turn it, and
Yeah.
they do it. And aren't I making you a little seasick? Nope, nope, just keep going, just keep going.
Like, don't shake it too much. So he's like, I took my jaw.
Maybe I will.
Man.
Right.
No, but no, I'm saying that's for you because you start out with the phone. I was laughing, going, yeah, I mean, I remember phones they didn't have cameras on them.
That's right. They didn't.
They didn't.
No.
I had a separate camera and had a
Yes.
separate phone. So I mean,
Yep.
but in the last 10 years, 15 years, it's changed so much. So we have these phones that are just like these phones are literally mini computers. That's what literally they are,
Totally.
right?
Totally. A mini computer.
Computer. So I just want to piggyback off of you to say, yeah, I agree with the whole mindset stuff. You have to. It's part and parcel of getting someone organized. I mean, it really is these days, and there's so much. And I just want to address this also. There's so much work out there, folks. Trust me, especially in America, there's a lot of people with a lot of stuff, and I don't think it'll ever go away. I mean, I just don't think it will. I just at this point, we have generations now of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I got to bring this up to you. I got to ask you, Sheila, because I need your advice on this. I'm curious what you think. AI, ChatGPT, all that stuff. I'm talking about it. And I don't see many people talking about it in our industry, but I'm talking about it from the sense that you'll still need an organizer. That's how I feel. But I want to know what your thoughts are on it right now, because you're doing virtual already, which takes away from going into the home, which is a great service for people. If they're embarrassed or scared or don't want somebody in their house, like you can
Oh,
actually. So, but how do you feel about this whole chat BT? People, how do I organize my closet? How do you feel about that?
correct. And I have seen comments on Facebook
Yeah,
about, oh my goodness, I needed, or like I was organizing a closet, I forgot what it was, but they asked Chat GPT and came up with a whole list of do this first, do that first. If you want like this, do it this way. And the concern is, oh my goodness, that is going to put, the organizing profession right on its butt. And I'll tell you what I thought.
okay, so you think
There's always going to be a certain population that wants to a different kind of DIY. It has to do with doing it my way, doing it cheap, taking it the shortcut. This would be a shortcut, right? I mean, cheap,
I agree.
right? Because here's what happens that they think they're getting a prize, and it's a free prize from Chat GPT, right? Which makes it all that much more
Right,
interesting.
right.
But Chat GPT does not know you.
Nope.
They do not know the integrating part of who you are and how you work, especially for those who are neurodivergent.
Yeah,
Some people need to have their stuff out, not in a drawer or in a file drawer or in a special closet or hung on the other side of the room. Some people need to have hooks, and it's still organization,
agree.
and it's still very calm visual organization. It's one of the things we have to do is calm the visual,
Yes.
because then the brain just is too
Oh,
confused.
yes, yes.
And the brain seeks to organize itself. The brain is always trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
So it's exhausting if you don't have the tools.
yeah, I agree.
So ChatGPT cannot do that for you.
Yeah,
So I think, like everything else right now, it's novel, it's fun, but let's see about the longevity to it.
yeah.
I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. You walk into a client, or I won't walk into a client's, but I will see on camera a client's,
Yeah.
tell me what kind of organizing tools are you using? And it used to be you'd run out, I'm going to get organized. They'd run a Home Depot or Target and they buy 100,000 big,
Yes. Oh
units and
yeah.
put
Oh
these
yeah. Yeah.
boxes and they got putty, colorful lids and
Yes.
oy vey. And, tell me why you still have chaos if you've got all these,
Right.
wonderful things.
Yes. Yes.
And there you go. That's the reason because, the blank fill in the blank fill in is not, it's not personal. It doesn't help you who you are with who you and how you do organize. On the same token, challenging a client and say to them, okay, I know that you're doing it this way, and it sounds like you're feeling that this works best for you, but tell me how it's really working out for you. Is it really supportive? And the answer is no, I have to keep doing it all over the keep falling apart and all these because you're working against yourself, not with it. Let's figure a way, let's figure a way. So as a professional organizer, I and you can work with a client to figure out a strategy or plan that's fitting for them and so that it is sustainable. So it doesn't cost a whole big fortune. We do space organizing. How are they flowing and working in their room
Yes.
or in a particular, a kitchen?
Yeah.
And you're talking about left-handed kitchens. I'm like, oh, that sounds
I
wonderful.
know.
It's about flow. It's about workflow. So you're not going to ever get that from AI. So I hope I answered your question.
No, you did. No, no, you're on a similar tip as I am. I'm like, there are folks who may not have a major problem with organization. So
Mhm.
this could work for them. For me, it's like looking up a definition. So what's a desk? So you look it up, you find what a desk is. It's like how to organize this shelf. They tell you how to organize a shelf. It's like a definition of how to do it. So if it's something easy, you can do it. But there are folks, we're discounting all the folks who physically can't do their own organization.
That's true.
There's
Yeah.
always work there. There are folks who are busy,
Yep.
mompreneurs, entrepreneurs who are just like, I just want it done. I'll tell you
Right.
what I want. I have a few clients like that who are just like, I'll tell you what I want, or now I know them. So like it's kind of short. We have shorthand.
Sure. Sure.
They still need you to do it physically. Or folks who just need who aren't even sure what they want. So they go to ChatGPT and they're like, I don't know what, because they're also saying this, you don't have the right prompts, you may not get the right answers.
Correct. Right.
So there are folks who are still going to need someone to consult with them and go, I have this space, this breakfast nook area. Like, I don't know, should I put plants there? It's like they don't. So it's like you still need a physical person, whether it's virtual or in person, to say, wait, you already thought of this? Or what about this? Like, or sometimes it's actually moving a plant over there.
Correct.
I'm sure you've had
Correct.
too where you go, that chair looks great over there. I never even thought that before. But we physically we moved it there. So I keep telling you, the human element. I think some of these things are quick quick fix, quick.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
quick, fast, and hurry.
And novel. Just
A
it's
novel. Yeah,
new. It's fun. Let's play with it.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And
so I'm not discounting it completely, but I'm like, well, I'm not scared of it. I just think that we have. I'm busy with work, so I don't know about anybody else, but I mean, there's plenty of work out there. I think,
right. Right.
but I also think too, sometimes Sheila, I think sometimes it's good that we get shaken up a little bit in our business. We get a little too complacent. Like, so we need to kind of like technology is changing, and we should change with it.
And
You're an example of that. You literally are an example of changing with the times.
if you don't, you get left behind. I
You
mean,
sure will.
in I guess different strokes for different folks, and
Yeah,
we all know that. But
yeah,
I think if you're running a business and you're in, and it's not just for me, it's not just my business. My industry is who I am.
me too.
It's my love,
Yeah,
and you have to think a little bit broader and more globally about the effects from outside. And who do we look like? Who are we?
right.
And we have to evolve as well. And that's growth. That's just growth.
I agree with that.
So, it's
Sheila,
fun.
I can talk to you forever, but these podcasts, they only want to do like 40 minutes, 15 minutes.
I
Yeah.
know.
And it
It
went by
sounds
so
good.
fast. You have to come back on. You just have to come back on another time.
I will. I will.
This was delightful. Thank you so much for sharing the history
Well,
of this.
thank you. Thank you for having me and for allowing me to share, some of my own little history. I don't get to share it very much.
I
So
know. You're a
fun.
groundbreaker. Hello, girl. You're a groundbreaker. Please, come on. I'm like, that's we have to support our groundbreakers and people who have a vision. And I think you're like me. We love this industry. I love this industry. I can talk about it
I know
20.
you do. I know you do. It's clearly obvious that you do,
Thank
which
you.
is why I'm so honored that you've invited me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So, folks, I'll put it in the description, of course, below. But I want her just to say it out loud. Where can they find you if they want to follow you in your business?
Certainly. So my website is thevirtualprofessionalorganizer.com. And I'm
How'd
available
you
there.
get that? No one else had it.
No, no, nobody else had it.
That's like being a super organizer. No one had it. I'm like,
Uh,
what has it? I was
it's
so shocked.
the virtual
Right.
professional
And
organizer.
I'm
Yeah.
the super organizer. So, I get it, but it's kind
Yep,
of,
you get the that.
I still thought someone would have it, but it's like so funny. No one had it.
Nope, nope. And I don't think that that was exactly, happenstance either.
Oh,
Kind of coincidence.
of course not. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. No coincidences. We don't believe in that. It's all,
No coincidences. Right,
no,
right.
no. So go
So
there.
I can certainly be reached that way. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So
So
yeah, reach
follow her there. I'll put it below. I'll put it all there
out.
below.
And if there's anybody has curiosity and want questions, I'm certainly happy to speak to anybody
Yes.
who wants
And
some
if
more.
you're nervous about it, you can come to me and I'll make introductions. Some people need another person in between, right? So I always tell people all the time, any of my guests, I'm like, you want to talk to any of them and you're curious, you have questions, you really want to, just like, you're just a little nervous, reaching out. I know for some people that's paralyzing for some people. Come to me, you know me, James Lott Jr., come to me and I'll make the introductions. How's that?
Sounds good.
I want no one to feel like there's a block at all.
No, 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 nope, nope, nope. Yeah.
Super organizers here every Monday. That's me. I'm here on Mondays. Also, I'm for hire too. A lot of help.com/super organizer. Our show is on all those streaming service platforms you can think of. Audio, we're on YouTube and JLJ Media. The Super Organizers show are on Facebook and X and Blue Sky. I think everything. My blog is a lot of help. I put out a blog post Monday through Friday to all kinds of stuff, kids. And I have some books. So go to Amazon and type in Super Organizer books. Check those out. Folks, have a great week. And when I talk to you next time, I'll be a year older. Bye.